One Sports presents to you the most unique show in sports.
I'm going to say something now that some may take as a hot take, and I don't really care because I know that I'm right.
A show so staggeringly awesome and unapologetically original, you won't know what hit you.
Do you ever just get down on your knees and thank God that you know me and have access to my dementia?
Featuring the man himself, Nick Kostos.
For anyone else who says, oh, he's exaggerating, he's prisoner of the moment. First off, shut up. This is the National Football League. This is not the Big 12. It's not Pop Warner. An absolute disgrace. An atrocity. An affront. One of the most disgraceful performances that I have ever seen in 35 years watching National Football League football.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, magnificent Football Monday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Monday morning, the world of sports is buzzing. And we're going to get to all of it, all the big stories today on this Monday, including a full preview of tonight's national championship game in college football between Indiana and Miami. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to cover the spread. I've got a prop bet that I love for today's game. And I'm also going to tell everybody, because everybody, 100% of people, as long as you like sports. I don't know if there's like some like a grandma in Des Moines, Iowa, who doesn't care about sports, who's bitching and moaning about college football. But if you're a big sports fan, chances are you are complaining sometime during the year about something related to the sport of college football. And everybody's got their thing that they complain about with college football. I've got something, as it concerns the great sport, that pisses me off to an unbelievable degree, and I feel like no one talks about it. I'm going to share what that is. And we will celebrate the national championship game tonight. Tomorrow will be a huge national championship show. But college football has got a big issue. And I'm going to tell you what it is and why I can't believe more people don't agree with me coming up later in the show. We will also take a spin on the NFL coaching carousel. John Harbaugh, officially the head coach of my New York Football Giants. Matt LaFleur is back in Green Bay with the Packers on a long-term extension, why that's a great thing for the Green Bay Packers, and why the Falcons' hire of Kevin Stefanski as their next head coach means they should be the favorites next year to win the NFC South. Two tremendous guests will join us on this magnificent Football Monday. NFL analyst for ESPN, the great Herman Edwards, coming up next hour on the show. I can't wait to ask Herm if he thinks the Bills should fire Sean McDermott. Herman Edwards coming up next hour on the show. And in the Power Hour, the final hour, to get you, dear listener, you, dear viewer, set to bet and win on the national championship game tonight, professional sports bettor, the wildly entertaining Joey Knish will join the show. All of his bets and his handicaps for tonight with Miami and Indiana. I will also give you at the end of the show all my bets for tonight, both the national championship game, and it is Martin Luther King Day. We've got NBA games throughout the day today. I got a bunch of NBA bets that I can't wait to give everybody on the show, and we will save those for the very end, in the Power Hour, in the final hour. The phone number today, as per usual, to chime in, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. We are on YouTube, new YouTube page for the show, youtube.com/@thekostos, @THEKOSTOS. Subscribe to the show there on YouTube. The live chat is always buzzing. This weekend, there were tons of people watching the show live on YouTube, in addition to on Twitter, and live on the radio, and on Sirius XM, and on the Westwood One app, and the Odyssey app. tons of places to watch and listen to the show. I am so enthused and pleased with the amount of people that are watching the show on YouTube right now. Very early into this new time slot with a new YouTube channel. You guys are the best. I'm going to drop in the YouTube chat throughout the show today, youtube.com/@the Kostos. But we officially begin the magnificent Football Monday edition of You Better You Bet with gratitude as sports fans. I say it every year. Divisional, and I'm far from the only person that says it, but it's the truth. The best weekend on the sports calendar every single year is the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. And this one lived up to the billing. Yes, 49ers Seahawks was not exactly an instant classic on Saturday night, although we did get Eddie Pinheiro trying to trip Rashid Shaheed, which was like a scene out of like the Three Stooges or Benny Hill, like absolute, like laughed out loud in the moment. So that game was not exactly great. And I don't think anyone would confuse Patriots-Texans with like Super Bowl 25, 0 turnovers committed by the Giants and the Bills. I don't know if it was the best game that's ever been played yesterday between the Patriots and the Texans, but tons of storylines and tons of things to talk about coming out of that game. And then we had the start of the weekend and the end of the weekend. Both games going to overtime. Both games, in my estimation, and I would hope for yours as well. I mean, unless, you lost an uncomfortable amount of money on either the Bills or as it turned out, the Rams to cover the spread, depending on what your bet was or if you're a fan of either team. I think that we can acknowledge these were 10 out of 10 sporting events, with the Bills and the Broncos to start it off and the Rams and the Bears to wrap it up last night. And I would encourage everybody right now on this Monday to soak it in, drink it in, because at this moment right now, there are 4 football games left this season, including tonight with the national championship. Tomorrow morning, when we're here on a terrific Football Tuesday, there will be 3 football games left. Championship Sunday, and then Super Bowl 60. And we are going to miss it when it's gone. Soak it in. And now let's talk about it. And we'll start with the Rams and the Bears. I actually, just to pull the curtain back a little bit, I was so into Bills Broncos and all the storylines coming out of that game. I debated leading today with it, but led yesterday's show with it. So we'll start with the game that we saw last night with the Los Angeles Rams and the Chicago Bears. With the Rams winning 20-17 in overtime to advance to the NFC Championship game. And from the Los Angeles perspective first, look, this is kind of like pass-fail in sports. There's no like letter grade A through F. You either win or you lose. And the Los Angeles Rams won. Like, they passed. It doesn't matter what the letter grade was. They passed. They won. And the week before, wild card weekend, to kick off the NFL playoffs, which have been magnificent, the Rams beat the Carolina Panthers. Were unimpressive in doing so, but the Rams won the game. So they have done the 2 most important things in the 2 games they've played. They've won, and they've won. Next sentence. If the Los Angeles Rams play like they've played in the first 2 playoff games, and if Sean McVay coaches like he's coached in the first 2 playoff games, the Seattle Seahawks are going to wax that ass coming up Sunday in the Pacific Northwest. And the game might not even be close. If the Rams play like they did against Carolina, play like they did last night against Chicago, coach like they did last Saturday against Carolina, last night against Chicago, the Seahawks are going to pummel them on Sunday in Seattle. This was, in a winning effort for the Los Angeles Rams, one of those performances where you're watching the game thinking, what the hell is this team doing? How is it possible that this is what's happening? The LA Rams, and I said it last Sunday, and I said it last Monday, the Rams are dying to FA and FO. They are FAing, and at some point they're going to have to FO if they don't get their act together. And it's going to be Sunday in Seattle if they don't. And let's start with the coach. Let's start with Sean McVay. And before I criticize him, I need to preface it by saying Sean McVay is an unbelievable coach. He's one of the best head coaches, I actually think, and we'll see how his career goes. Like how many Super Bowls he wins. Will it only be one? We'll see. I think he's going to go down as one of the best head coaches in the history of the National Football League. And if, like this would never happen, let's say the Rams fired him, which they wouldn't do. Let's just say that they did. Teams would be falling all over themselves to fire their entire organization to bring in Sean McVay. And if I were an owner and I were a GM, I would want to do that. He's stellar. So I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying he should be out of a job. He might be the best. It's like him and Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan are the gold standard, in my opinion, as far as coaches go in the National Football League. He was terrible in last night's game. And he was terrible the weekend before against the Carolina Panthers. I'll say this as well, and we'll get to the Bears coming up in a moment. I thought Ben Johnson was terrible in last night's game also. I was so disappointed in this ballyhooed coaching matchup with boy genius and boy wonder with Ben Johnson and Sean McVay. They don't like each other. Man, what the genius schematic play callers, brilliant offensive minds, the next generation of NFL coaches. It would be like if you went to the game last night and you were expecting to see like Bobby Fischer versus Kasparov in chess versus Deep Blue. You got, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn from Dumb and Dumber going head to head. What a disappointment that was with the two coaches last night and the way that they coached the game. And as far as Sean McVay goes, I've said this before and it's the truth. Sean McVay, and if you're a sports bettor, and if you're not, that's great also, but you'll understand the analogy, I think. If you're a sports bettor, you will understand it. He's like a gambler that, he's playing poker and he loses on the, loses at the end on the river, loses a huge hand to Texas Hold'em, and then goes on tilt and drops, goes all in on black and it comes up red and he's furious and you start drinking and you bet more and it just gets worse and worse and worse. He went on tilt. He goes on tilt and he absolutely loses his mind when he does it. Now, we can talk about McVay's play calling and the run-pass ratio and the times in which he calls the runs and the times in which he calls the passes. And Sean McVay said it himself after the game. Like, I'll give him credit. Like, unlike Sean McDermott, who can't wait to blame everybody else for his failures and the failures of his team, Sean McVay doesn't point fingers. He points the thumbs. And I give him credit for that. And he said after the game, I coached a terrible game. And I didn't put the offense in position to succeed and position to win. And he's right about that. But for me, it's way, way deeper than that. Deeper and deeper. Way, way down. It's way deeper than that. It's the game management. The end of the game, the end of regulation and into overtime, Sean McVay made a couple, and again, he's so good. And that's why it's so insane when he does this, because he's so good. He loses it. He makes decisions where if this were like Todd Bowles, like someone who like fans love to criticize, a coach that people love to get on, if this were Aaron Glenn, Brian Dable, Matt Eberflus, they would get absolutely crucified in these moments by sports fans for some of these decisions. At the end of the game, at the end of regulation, there's 2 minutes and 7. Ben Johnson has called a brain-dead timeout, a ridiculous timeout, with 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the game. The Bears would get the ball back and Caleb Williams would end up tying the game. We'll get to that, right? So it's third down for the Rams. You have now handed Matthew Stafford, who's likely going to win MVP, an opportunity to throw the ball and win the game. To throw the ball and win the game. It makes no sense to run on 3rd and 7. Zero. Because it's not like you're going to bleed the clock or make the Bears take a timeout. There's 2 minutes and 7 seconds left. The clock stops at 2 minutes. The Bears have basically handed you an opportunity here. Handed you an opportunity, a free play throwing the ball instead of having to run it and bleed the clock out. And what do the Rams do? And with a timeout to think about it, Kyron Williams up the middle. What? 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 0.0% sense. Indefensible. 0 out of 10 decision. Like any other coach does that, that's not like the great Sean, and I think he is great. Other than Sean McVay, and this is like the lead story. But it's Sean McVay, and the Rams won the game, so people forget about it. But I'll tell you what, you can get away with that against the Chicago Bears, and I don't mean that as disrespect to the Bears. You ain't getting away with that on the road in Seattle. You ain't getting away with it on the road at Mike McDonald and that defense and the Seattle Seahawks. How about after the Bears tied the game? This was like, and it's like the symmetry of these things sometimes is like actually kind of beautiful. And I mean that. There's 13 seconds left on the clock. The Rams have 2 timeouts, and instead of trying to like throw the ball with their MVP quarterback to get in field goal range, they kneel on the ball. Because, it's never like we've seen a team have 13 seconds on the clock and make something of it in the divisional round of the playoffs. I don't know what he's doing he loses it. Like he loses his mind in these moments. And he also actually looks like the coldest person of all time. And like I would be cold too. But with that stupid hat and that vest, he looked like he was going to go rob a PC Richards. Like he looked like a cat burglar on the sideline there. Absolutely frigid. I don't know what the hell he's doing. It's a terribly coached end of the game by Sean McVay. And they got away with it. And they won. Because Matthew Stafford in the closing moments turned into the MVP. Like he did the week before against the Carolina Panthers. But again, Stafford is inaccurate at points during the game. And the Rams' lack of speed on offense really shows up. And yeah, it's freezing cold, and that probably has something to do with it. But I mean, like, I'm being serious right now. We've all watched the NFL forever, right? You're used to seeing kickoff returners, and they may not all be good. Like, not everyone has to be, Devin Hester or Dante Hall throwing up the X. At the very least, like, look at Rashid Shaheed on Saturday night. Like, you know what Rashid Shaheed is? Fast. You know what the Rams returners are? Slow. Here's Ronnie Rivers and Jordan Whittington returning kicks, who look like I could hang with them in a 40-yard dash, and I couldn't, but just saying. Like, what is this? They have no speed. And if Stafford's not going to be dead-on accurate, I don't know how this is going to go on Sunday on the road in Seattle. And I want to bet the Rams in the game. I'm dying to bet the Rams in this game, and I think I'm going to, but I'm a little nervous. Maybe that should give people confidence if I'm nervous about it. To be fair to the Rams, I mean, that's a game that gets Chris Shula a coaching job, the defensive coordinator, right? I mean, like the stands on the Spates, the fourth down stop prior to, the Caleb Williams insane touchdown, which is just like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't defend that. Chris Shula's probably gonna get a head coaching job, and I give the Rams defense credit because I didn't think they would step up like that, and they did, and they played really well. Yes, Ben Johnson did not call a great game, but the Rams defense absolutely stepped up to the plate, which gives you a little more confidence, right? Heading into Sunday on the road in Seattle. Last note on the Los Angeles Rams, and we'll talk about the Bears on the other side. There is something just to, there's a lot of symmetry in sports, right? When you watch this for long enough and you follow it over the course of a living, breathing season, right? And over the course of careers, where Sean McVay, usually his special teams are not great and can be a big-time bugaboo for the team. This is not something that's unique to the 2025 Rams. Although, it is something that came to roost on numerous occasions in a negative way for the 2025 Los Angeles Rams. To the point that the Rams, for the first time in the McVay tenure, fired a coach in season. And it was New York Football Giants former linebacker Chase Blackburn as their special teams coach. So it goes noted that the kicker that replaced Joshua Carty, the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis and Butthead, stepped up to the plate and drilled the game winner from 42 yards out. I thought he was going to miss. And he made it. And the Rams are able to put away the special teams' misfortunes and advance on to Championship Sunday. We have, guys, is this official? Because I haven't seen it. I have not opened up my phone. Yes? Oh, we've got it. We have major breaking news in the world of the National Football League. The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. If only someone had been saying they should do it for years. That person would be me. We have to take a break. Have to. Right now, with the way our break the way radio works, we have to take a break. And on the other side, we will discuss the Buffalo Bills' loss on Saturday to the Broncos and why this is a great day for the Buffalo Bills and a great day for Josh Allen. Coming up next here on a Monday, You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports.
is on the way, and the Denver Broncos have won it in overtime.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Jim Nantz with the call on Saturday on CBS. I have no idea how we're going to get everything into the show today. We're going to make it happen, though. Everything from divisional weekends and preview the national championship game tonight. But as we told you going to break, major breaking news in the National Football League. The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. To which I say, good for you. This is not a good day for the Buffalo Bills. It's a great day for the Buffalo Bills. And a great day for Josh Allen. Now, Sean McDermott is not a bad coach. And this is like, what's great about this is, you all have to be honest, right? I get a lot of stuff wrong. And I tell you when I get stuff wrong. But when I get stuff right, I'm going to tell you that I got it right. And I nailed this, and I nailed John Harbaugh with Baltimore, and I said it 4 years about these two coaches and these two teams and those two quarterbacks. That if you can't get over the hump, you have to do something different, and you're never firing the MVP quarterback, so you have to fire the head coach. That has to be what it is. It absolutely has to be what happens. Sean McDermott is a good coach. You could argue he's a great coach. And with approximately 358 vacancies right now in the NFL, if Sean McDermott wants to go coach in 2026, he should get a job. Listen to what I'm saying. Not like maybe he should get a job. If he wants to coach in 2026, one of these teams should hire him. He is an excellent football coach. Took the Bills and did great things with Buffalo. So it's not that he sucks in the same way it's not that John Harbaugh sucks, he doesn't, or that Mike Tomlin sucks, he doesn't. It's that it reaches an expiration date at some point when you can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. All of us, collectively, as humans, we all like to bandy about Albert Einstein as one of the smartest people of all time, right? Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And it really struck me in the wake of Buffalo's loss on Saturday to the Denver Broncos when I'm watching all the coverage at night and I wake up early on Sunday morning to do my shows and I've got the TVs on here over my desk and over my computer and over my camera. And all the television networks, all of them are running the montage of Buffalo Bills playoff debacles. Not from Super Bowls 25 to 28. No. From 2019 to present day. And at some point, these montages, where we had something new and soul-crushing and heartbreaking every single year, it's going to be longer than the damn English patient. How many more years can you do this? It's so damn long. 19 to the Texans. 20, number 1 to the Chiefs. 21, 13 seconds against the Chiefs. 22, Joe Burrow shoves your face in the snow. 23, Tyler Bass wide right against the Chiefs. 24, Dalton Kincaid can't corral in the fourth down desperation pass. 25, losing on the road to Bo Nix. And you want to keep doing it. You want to bring Sean McDermott back. Because you know what everyone wants to say? Well, you can't fire him if you don't have someone better to replace him. What? You could replace him. You, the listener, you, the viewer, you could replace Sean McDermott. And I'd rather have that. Because with McDermott, you know how it goes. You make it to January, and you lose. And you lose. And it doesn't matter if you want to say it's not his fault. Like this is like Robin Williams and Good Will Hunting to Matt Damon. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Sean. It's actually Josh Allen's fault because he turned the ball over a bunch. And because at the end of the first half, he's holding it like a loaf of bread and begging the Broncos to force a fumble so they can get 3 points. It doesn't matter that it's not his fault. In the same way that it doesn't matter if it's not always John Harbaugh's fault. Josh Allen is a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. And if you have the choice of keeping the first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback or the head coach, who are you choosing? This had to happen. And the loss on, and I know some people disagree with this. We had Jason McCourty on the show yesterday, and he said that he thought the 13 seconds game against Kansas City was worse than Saturday against the Denver Broncos. And I certainly respect Jason McCourty, who's forgotten more about the X's and O's of football than I will ever know. But my opinion, as someone who gets paid and paid well to talk about sports, is Saturday was the nail in the coffin. There's no coming back from it. It was the worst loss in the Allen McDermott era. Because for the first time in this entire run, you didn't have the final boss. Number 15 in red, the boogeyman, was not waiting at the end of the journey for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And not only did you not have the boogeyman, not only did you not have Mahomes, there was no Lamar Jackson. There's no Joe Burrow. This would be like starting a game of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and someone says to you before you start playing, hey, in order to win the game, you don't have to beat Tyson. You don't have to beat Super Macho Man. You don't have to beat Soda Popinski. You knock out King Hippo or Von Kaiser and you win. And then they step up to the plate and Bo Nix knocks them out with a fractured ankle. Like Kurt Angle winning the gold medal at the 96 Olympics with a broken freaking neck. And you get bounced in Denver in a game that they should have won 100-0. And yeah, I bet Buffalo in the game. I'm a little salty about it. And yeah, the officiating sucked down the stretch of the game. Not sucked that the calls were bad, but sucked in the sense that the refs kept the flags in their pockets the whole game and then decided to throw them on every play at the end. Yeah, like it happens. And yeah, like you can argue maybe the Bills got jobbed a little. I actually thought it was a good call on the McMillan interception. I bet Buffalo. I had no problem with the call. It was an interception to me. You can make all the excuses you want. The point of professional sports is to win a championship. And they, not only did they not win one, they didn't even get to play for one. Year 9 coming up for Allen and McDermott. For Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. And some people think, yeah, let's just do it again. Let's just do it again. Give me a break. It's time. And now, I don't even care who they hire. They promote Joe Brady. Maybe they try to trade for Mike Tomlin. No one has said that. I'm in the moment, right? I have no idea. I'm going to like the Bills more than I did heading into this year, and I'm going to like the Ravens more heading into this year because they had the guts to do what was right for their quarterbacks, to try something new, to get over the hump, to try and win a Super Bowl championship. And Sean McDermott, and I said this at the start of the show before I knew this news. I like Sean McDermott. I think he's a really good coach. He absolutely made himself look silly after the game. I'm standing up for Buffalo. I'm gonna talk about the officiating and I'm gonna bitch and moan about the refs. Instead of the fact that your football team turned the ball over 1 billion times and couldn't beat the Denver Broncos. Thumbs, not fingers. Sean McVay gets up there after the game last night and goes, they won. And he goes, I didn't do a good enough job. The Bills lost, and Sean McDermott gets up there and goes, I'm going to stand up for Buffalo. Like, enough. Like, the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen are not a charity case. This is not like everyone, oh my God, I feel so bad for this, like, very tall and handsome and extremely rich, married to this beautiful pop star quarterback. What is going on? Grow up. You're a Bills fan right now. This was your Super Bowl this year. Because I don't think you were winning it with McDermott. You won the Super Bowl today. Because now you have a chance to win next year's Super Bowl with a new head coach. And Sean McDermott can get another job. And I hope he does. And he'll make another team better. In the same way I'm happy my Giants hired John Harbaugh. But it was time. It was time. On the other side, you bet here on this magnificent Football Monday, we'll talk about the Denver Broncos and Jarrett Stidham starting the AFC Championship game coming up on Sunday, and we'll continue to react to the breaking news. Sean McDermott out in Buffalo. A great day for the Bills. You bet. Westwood One Sports with me, Nick Kostos.
Not good news. On the second to last play in overtime, Bo fractured a bone in his right ankle. He's scheduled to have surgery Tuesday of this week, which will put him out for the rest of the season.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
The voice of Broncos head coach Sean Payton was just crazy. We're going to tell you about our show sponsor at BetMGM, and then we'll get to that news. Just an hour after the game. Just, hey, oh, by the way, BetMGM account holders, of which you are listeners and viewers, of which you should be one, will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. Score a bigger payout if your wager with the Parlay Boost token hits. Tokens can be used on parlays and same-game parlays. Please gamble responsibly and download the BetMGM app today. So just like, we haven't even talked about the game at all. We're probably not going to be able to. It's just way too much going on. And I did it yesterday on the various shows that I hosted on Sunday. So the Broncos win, and everyone is kind of, whether I bet Buffalo, so I was annoyed about that. But look, it was a great game, and we're all kind of buzzing as sports fans about the game. And whether you're happy or you're sad or you're mad, it inspired some type of strong emotion in you, I'm sure, as a sports fan, right? And there's not a lot of time to come down because Niners Seahawks is literally about to start, and the game starts. So you've got a game starting. You've got this epic game has just ended, one of the greatest games in the history of the divisional rounds of the playoffs. And then you get the equivalent of a Friday news dump on a Saturday night following the divisional round playoff game. An hour after the game ends, you want to talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat? This is the thrill of victory and the agony of season-ending injury. Sean Payton goes up to the podium. No one had any idea Bo Nix was hurt. Finished the game. Everything looked fine. Does the post-game interview with Tracy Wolfson on CBS. No issues. Oh, by the way, also fractured ankle, done for the year, having surgery. What? This is the real-life equivalent of you get married, you're having a great day, reception's a couple hours later, you're having a grand old time, and someone comes up to you and says, hey, buddy, congrats on the nuptials. Also, your wife's banging the pool guy. What? Bo Nix is out for the season? What? Where the hell did that come from? Stunning. Enter Jarrett Stidham. Now, if you're out there listening or watching and you know nothing about Jarrett Stidham, this is what I'm here for. As someone who lives and breathes sports in the National Football League, I'm going to give you the dossier. This is Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? The dossier. Shout out to the real ones that get that reference. On MS-DOS back in the day. On Jarrett Stidham. My opinion on Jarrett Stidham, who is starting the AFC Championship game and potentially Super Bowl 60 against the New England Patriots this Sunday. We'll talk about the Patriots-Texans game in a little bit. At some point, before the show ends or before all of us die, I will get to all these games. Of course, we had the breaking news of the Bills firing Sean McDermott. So Jarrett Stidham, drafted by the Patriots in 2019, Tom Brady's last year in the 4th round. He ends up going to the Raiders, and if you remember, Jarrett Stidham in the 22 season, and this was a game that when Ken Barkley and I are doing You Better You Bet, we ended up getting a great number on this game, and we lost the bet. The Niners played the Raiders, and the car news breaks among sports bettors before it gets broken by Adam Schefter. In any event, the Jarrett Stidham and the Raiders take the Niners to overtime and cover the spread in that game, and Stidham plays pretty well. And then Stidham starts the final game of the season as well for the Raiders. Now, Sean Payton gets hired by the Broncos, during that cycle, right? So, a couple of weeks later, Sean Payton is hired by the Denver Broncos. And on literally, not figuratively, literally, the first day of free agency, the Broncos sign Jarrett Stidham. Now, Russell Wilson's the quarterback at that point. I think we all kind of knew then that Sean Payton hated Russell Wilson, and we certainly knew not far long after that. And at the end of that season in 23, if you recall, the Broncos bench Russell Wilson, not for performance issues, although he was bad. They bench him because if he gets hurt, then they have to pay him all the gobs of guaranteed money. So he gets benched. Stidham plays the final couple games of the season. The Broncos draft Bo Nix in the first round. They do like this, I don't know, kind of like a rigged quarterback competition that Stidham's never going to win. Because you don't draft a quarterback 12th overall to have him lose the quarterback derby in training camp, right? And Stidham's pissed in that moment. And he says, like, I'm going to make them regret it. Like, I was the right guy for the job, which may or may not be true, but we can all appreciate as competitors, and maybe you're not a competitor, you the listener, you're the viewer. I love to compete. I'm trying to win. And you can appreciate, even if he's wrong about that he has that opinion. And he wants to go out and he wants to do well and he wants to prove people wrong. I do not think, and this is not me saying that the Broncos are going to win or cover or keep the game close, but I don't think that Jarrett Stidham is your average run-of-the-mill, curtain-jerking jabroni backup quarterback. Like, this is not Connor Cook starting for the Raiders once upon a time against the Houston Texans. Like, this is not, Ryan Lindley starting a playoff game for the Cardinals, in Carolina against the Panthers. Like, that's not what this is. It isn't. I think Stidham can be better than that. And if you're a Broncos fan or a Broncos bettor, and there are a lot of Broncos bettors, right? People that were in on Denver, have the Denver to win the AFC, maybe Denver to win the Super Bowl, right? I think something that you hang your hat on a little bit, and I mean this sincerely. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports. And Bo Nix played well on Saturday. I don't mean this as an anti-Bo Nix thing, but we tell the truth on this show. We tell the truth. Sean Payton has called an offense all year that is not completely, but largely designed to hide the quarterback. And when you say things like that, people get really mad. Broncos fans, Oregon fans, they get really upset. How could you say that about hiding? Look how many games they won. I mean, look at all the passes behind the line of scrimmage. Come on. And I'm not saying Bo Nix isn't a good quarterback. I bet them to make the playoffs. I bet their win total over. I'm in on Bo Nix. I just think that Sean Payton, very clearly doesn't trust him the way that he trusted, and this is an unfair comparison, and I know that. He doesn't trust him the way he trusted Drew Brees, and Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's not a fair comparison. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Now, Stidham is not the athlete that Nix is, so you lose that part of the equation, obviously, with Stidham starting a quarterback. Do they really? I'm being serious. Do they really have to change that much of the game plan? No, right? And that doesn't mean it's going to go great. But if you're a Bronco fan right now and you're crestfallen and you're devastated and you're heartbroken and you're upset by this news, I would be too. Totally get it. First conference championship game in a decade, chance to play for a Super Bowl championship potentially, and your second-year starting quarterback gets hurt. That sucks. It does. You're a Broncos fan? Pop in some Nick Foles tape. Even better, watch some Jeff Hostetler from back in the day for my New York Football Giants. Because you think that the Bills' heartbreak started with Josh Allen? No, it started with Jeff Hostetler back in January of 1991. And we'll get to the betting market. I'll do that to lead off the power hour for the Patriots and the Broncos, and we'll do the Rams and the Seahawks. I'll just say this, man. It feels like that market's trending a little too far in the direction for New England. No bets placed yet. I'll give my full opinion at the end of the show, with Jarrett Stidham set to start for the Denver Broncos. And my last note on Denver, and we'll do a little on the Patriots here. We'll get to the Texans and the Bears coming up next hour on the show. There are times let's just use football as the example, right? I'll say it a bunch over the course of a football regular season, right? We will have games where both teams try to lose. And when it comes down to it, one team tries to lose a little harder than the other team. And it feels like neither team is trying to win. Now, the Denver Broncos, let's be objective here and tell the truth. Whether you're a Broncos fan or not, a Bills fan or not. The Bills were the better team on Saturday. That's not sour grapes for me as someone that bet the Buffalo Bills. It's not. I'm telling the truth. I watched the game. The Bills were the better team. But how many times in sports do we see a team try to give the game away like Buffalo did, and the other team says, no, you take it? The Denver Broncos deserve a lot of credit. The Bills tried to hand them the game, and the Broncos said, okay, we'll take it. You know what? You guys don't want to win? You want to fire the coach? Great. We'll take it. We'll advance to championship Sunday. And that's not, I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm not saying that derisively or sarcastically. I mean it sincerely. There's something to be said for what they were able to do and win that football game. So ton of credit to the Broncos for beating the Bills in a game that they probably should have lost on Saturday to Josh Allen, the fired Sean McDermott, and Buffalo. Now, the Patriots part of the Patriots-Texans game yesterday is the less interesting part. For like the perspective of talking about sports on the radio, talking about sport on the radio and on television. The Texans are a more interesting topic on Monday morning. So we'll save the Texans in the limited time we have remaining in this hour. For New England, Drake May yesterday did, and if you're of a certain age, you'll get this reference, did his best Dave Craig impersonation. Now, Drake May is 50 times the quarterback that Dave Craig was, like former Seattle Seahawks quarterback, played for a bunch of teams, but most notably with Seattle, who set the NFL record during his playing career for most fumbles. Drake May was dying to fumble. It was like someone said to him before the game, hey, Drake, we'll give you $100,000 every time you fumble, but don't make it too obvious in the game yesterday. So, like, that's not great that he fumbled the ball a bunch and the Patriots turned it over 3 times. Look, fourth down play early in the game, Demario Douglas touchdown, the zip on the touchdown pass to Diggs, the beautiful catch by Kayshawn, booty, rocking everywhere. Drake May did enough in the game, and he's amazing. And the Patriots defense stuffed the Texans offense into a locker. And I didn't think that would happen. And a lot of Patriots fans upset with me on social media, to which I say, you were right. Your defense did play awesome in the game. And I was wrong about that. There's your pound of flesh. And now the Patriots favored to return to the Super Bowl. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you coming up on the other side. And what an hour number 2 it will be. We will preview the national championship game in college football, and I will give you my biggest beef with the sport. We will give you a post-mortem for the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans for their losses yesterday. But ESPN NFL analyst Herm Edwards starts it off right after this on a Monday.
The biggest names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening as you do every day to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Brought to you by BetMGM.
The magnificent Football Monday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our unbelievable crew, and you here on Westwood One Sports. Absolute bombshell piece of news in the National Football League dropping last hour. The Buffalo Bills firing head coach Sean McDermott after the team's loss on Saturday in the divisional round on the road in Denver against the Broncos. We will give you more on that story with the Bills firing Sean McDermott, talk more about the Denver Broncos with Jarrett Stidham starting at quarterback in the AFC Championship game, post-mortems for the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans following their losses yesterday in the divisional round, and we will preview the national championship game in college football as well tonight with Indiana and Miami. But joining us right now on the show, hashtag friend of the show, and it's great to have him on. I saw him on ESPN this morning, had like a really awesome green sports coat on. I thought he looked great, and I love his NFL analysis, and he's always generous with his time. Former NFL college football head coach, NFL player, ESPN NFL analyst, the great Herman Edwards joins us on You Better You Bet. Herm, thanks for joining us here on this Monday. How's it going?
Going well. Thank you for having me. Exciting games this weekend. I think the NFL is hitting home runs. It's amazing during this playoff competition. A lot of these games always seem to get into the fourth quarter with outstanding play from quarterbacks, regardless if some won or some did not. It's just some of the things these guys are able to do anymore from the quarterback position is just kind of fun to watch.
And it was an incredible weekend, and the playoffs have been spectacular thus far. I said that at the top of the show today. And, Coach, we'll talk about some of the games that we saw this past weekend, get your early opinions on Championship Sunday, but have to start with the breaking news. Herman Edwards' opinion of the Buffalo Bills firing Sean McDermott is what and why?
It doesn't surprise me anymore when some of these coaches are let go that have had winning records and done things that you wish a coach could accomplish. But in the state of the affairs now, it's so much driven now with you can win, but when you don't win enough or you don't win enough big games, that becomes an issue. And really, the people that make the most noise are the fans. It's the fan bases. I say it all the time. It's the people outside the building. And with the way social media travels and your fan base, some of these owners, they hear it all, and all of a sudden they just say, yeah, maybe I should make a change, right? So, look, there's been 10 head coach vacancies. That's a big number. And some of these coaches obviously have done outstanding jobs, and think about the Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, and now Buffalo Bills. These guys will all be working. They'll go somewhere else, and someone will be happy to have them.
It sounds like, Coach, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, it sounds like you really disagree with Buffalo's decision to fire Sean McDermott. Am I right about that? And if so, why do you disagree with the decision?
Well, I don't know if I disagree. I just look at it, and it's not shocking to me anymore. Just how it goes about.
Would you have done it if you own the Bills? If you own the Bills, Coach, I'm sorry to put you on this because I really respect your opinion, and I think
I would have not.
What would you have done?
I would have not fired him. Coach Harbaugh, obviously Mike Tomlin. They'd still be my coach. Now that's me. I'm a former coach and a former player, so that's the organization that runs their organizations. When you're the owner and you pay the money and you pay the freight of what you assume and what you want, and I think people just get tired. They get tired of winning because they get tired of winning, and when you don't win a Super Bowl or you don't win enough playoff games, they get tired and they say we want somebody new. And I get it. And coaches get it. When you're in this profession, you understand it. These coaches understand when they take the job on, what they need to do. And these guys have had long runs. There ain't no doubt about it. And they've been really good coaches.
I kind of want to, I think that's a really fair statement, what you just said there, right? Which maybe you disagree with it, but you also understand it. I'd like to give you my perspective, Coach, just to play devil's advocate here. And this doesn't have to be like a disagreement thing. I just really respect your opinion. And I know our listeners and viewers do as well. I think it just kind of reaches a point, right, where let's just use Sean McDermott, and you can do John Harbaugh as well with Lamar Jackson, where you're going to enter, let's say that they both get retained, right? And I think they're both, I'm a Giants fan. I'm thrilled that John Harbaugh is the coach of my football team, right? But if you're going to enter year 9, like almost a decade, like this, we haven't seen this in the history of the league, Coach, where we've had coach-quarterback pairings be together that long and not get to a Super Bowl and win one. Like, it's unprecedented in the league history, where, in my opinion, I think if you're an organization, you can say, McDermott's a great coach, Harbaugh's a great coach, but something's got to give here because we can't get over the hump. And you know this, right? Because you played and you coached. You're never going to fire the MVP quarterback. Like, Lamar Jackson's going nowhere. Josh Allen's going nowhere. So that's why I think from a lot of people's perspective, Coach, including mine, where you can say, like, should Sean McDermott get another job? Absolutely. But also, I think the Bills were right to make this move because how many times can you keep doing the same thing and achieving the same results? Just curious your thoughts on that devil's advocate opinion from yours truly.
You're right to have your opinion. You're absolutely right. You have a right for your opinion. Look, I'm not getting an argument about your opinion. That's fine. That's another way to look at it. There's no wrong answer. To be quite honest, there's actually no wrong answer. The only other answer you can have is I get rid of the player. And eventually that'll happen too. They'll get rid of the player. But that's going to happen. Okay? So now you get another coach in there. If the guy doesn't win, the quarterback, like you just mentioned, guess what? They're going to get another quarterback. So it's just a matter of time, right? That's all. It's just a matter of time. The bottom line, that's what's going to happen. We all know it.
Very fair answer. This is all it all just happened, obviously. Like Brian Dable has been a name that's been banned. We're very early in the process, Coach, and if you don't have like a name in mind, that's totally all right. But I know you know everyone in the NFL, right? And it's obviously going to be a desired job opening. Do you have someone in mind that you think like this person would go to Buffalo and be a great coach with Josh Allen and get the Bills over the hump? Totally okay if not, it just happened. But just curious if you had a thought on that.
I would think what they were going to probably do, and most organizations do this, prior to where the coach came from and what side of the ball he coached on, they go the opposite. So they're probably going to get a quarterback guy to be the head coach, right? They're going to get an offensive guy now. They had a defensive head coach, they're going to get an offensive guy. That's what they're going to do, right? So that's what happens. That's just if you just watch it, that's what generally happens. They go from a defensive head coach, they're going to go to an offensive head coach now. I don't know why with Josh Allen. Josh Allen could be the coach as good as he is. It's a shame. Poor guy. Just weird. I think what they ought to do when they look at the Buffalo Bills, besides looking at the coach, how about surrounding a guy with some more players? Whose job is that? Okay?
Are you surprised that the GM's keeping his job? Are you surprised that Brandon Beane's keeping his job?
When the Buffalo Bills break the huddle on offense, who are you concerned with? The runner and the quarterback. That's what I see when they break the huddle. And I'm saying this is a former player.
Are you surprised yeah, and I'm not, this is not, I want to be clear. Yeah, this is not me asking you to say you think someone should lose their job. I mean that sincerely. No. But are you surprised that the GM kept his job with the coach losing his job?
No. I'm not surprised at anything. You know how long I've been in that league?
That's fair.
Coaching and playing. What I've watched and saw, I don't, there's nothing that, hey, guess what? They fired Bill Belichick. How many Super Bowls he win? So we can make this thing. We can go round and round. Okay, he won Super Bowls, and guess what? They fired him too. So I don't know what to tell you. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy. Just enjoy watching football.
We do. It's the best form of entertainment in the history of life. It really is the best. Herman Edwards with us here on You Better You Bet. Coach,
it's in the toy department of life. It's in the toy department.
Oh, I've said that. Working in sports is absolutely.
It's in the toy department. It's in the toy department. Whether you win, lose, or draw, it's in the toy department. The only people that have to worry about wins and losses are the players and the coaches because it affects their lives. Because eventually, if you don't win enough and you don't win enough big games, when you get in the playoffs, guess what? They get somebody else.
It's kind of a brutal profession when you put it like that. And you're obviously right. Just curious, Coach.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No. You choose to do it. You choose your profession. You understand that. And that's part of it.
If you are Broncos head coach Sean Payton, right? And you have the situation, right, where you win the game. It's like the thrill of victory and the agony of losing your starting quarterback like an hour later. Like no one saw that coming, right? And this is not to say Jarrett Stidham can or can't beat the Patriots, win a Super Bowl potentially. But now you're Sean Payton, right? Because you've been in that chair, the head coach of a National Football League team. How do you kind of pull the team off the mat? Like, what do you say to the team this week and get them ready with the backup quarterback here making his first start of the season in the AFC Championship game?
It's real simple. Don't let that be the excuse for us saying we can't win. And if you think that, then you need to go home now. Just go home, leave the building. And I promise you, none of those players will leave the building. They are in a situation now where they're one game away, if they win this, to be a world champion. You know how hard it is to get to that game? Some guys never get there in their whole careers. And the players understand that. Hey, this is our shot. We got a chance to be the world champion. And it's not guaranteed every year. Some guys never get to this game. You know, players that played in the National Football League never been in the playoff game, no less get to the championship game. If you win, you go to the Super Bowl. So, you know, the quarterback is a quarterback. He plays quarterback. Don't worry about the quarterback. I'll handle the quarterback. That's what coaches tell them. I'll handle the quarterback. You just make sure you're ready to play.
That makes me think, Coach, about what Dan Campbell said when the Lions lost the NFC Championship game in San Francisco a couple years ago when he gets up to the podium, and it was kind of like a sobering statement, right? And we still all remember it. He goes, I told the locker room, we may never get back here again. You're 100% right. Like, this could be their shot, and I think that they'll give the Patriots all they can handle coming up on Sunday. Just, if you're very generous with your time, would like to hit you with a couple others, that's all right. And we can talk about some of the quarterbacks from this weekend. My opinion, Coach, which is just like maybe worth nothing in the grand scheme of things. I thought Caleb Williams in a losing effort last night, I thought he was magnificent. And not just like the throw down the field, which felt like a trick shot, like YouTube video. Like, who can do that? It kind of felt to me like he grew up a little bit, and I understand that's very narrative-y for me to say over the course of the game. I thought he was magnificent in the game last night, despite throwing a couple interceptions. Did you see it that way for Caleb Williams, and how do you kind of like judge his second season heading into year 3 for him and year 2 in the partnership with Ben Johnson?
I am a Caleb Williams fan, always have been. Watched him when he was at USC. We competed against him when I was at Arizona State with Jaden Daniels. And I think the best thing that happened to Caleb Williams was Ben Johnson when he arrived. If you're a Chicago Bear fan, now you see why they drafted Caleb Williams with the first pick. And if you're a Chicago Bear fan, you need to be quiet now. Just need to be quiet and say, you know what? This is our guy for the next 10 years. Now, there's some things we got to do to get it fixed. We got to fix the defense. We got to fix that. Taking the ball away, they lead the league, 33 takeaways. But there's problems defensively. And this is why this guy, Caleb Williams, that you have, he has to contort himself. He has to run around. He has to make these spectacular plays just to stay in games and to win games. That's almost not fair to the quarterback. Because eventually, you know what's going to happen? They blame the quarterback. Well, help the quarterback out on defense. Let's slow some people down. Let's stop some people every once in a while, right? And that's what they're going to have to fix. And they're going to get it fixed because they have an outstanding quarterback. And this team knows how to win now. And all they got to do, they'll get some more players on the offseason. This will be a very competitive division. Green Bay's not going anywhere. Detroit Lions aren't going anywhere. The Minnesota Vikings aren't going anywhere. But the Chicago Bears made a statement. this NFC North now. We are the champions, and it comes through us now.
Is it hyperbole? And you've lived a football life. Is it hyperbole to say, is it an exaggeration to say that some of these throws that Caleb Williams makes, like, how many quarterbacks in the history of the league can make some of these throws? Is that an exaggeration or prisoner of the moment thing? Or do you think that when you're watching him make some of these throws?
No, the way he could contort his body, his arm talent, and the accuracy of how he throws the football, it's fun to watch, whether you're a Chicago Bear fan or not. His athleticism has a lot to me, has a lot of Brett Favre in it. The way Brett Favre used to run around and run one way and throw it across the field. I mean, his arms had that one throw he made to the tight end. That's unbelievable. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And the accuracy of it all. And the players believed it. That now the players are into it. Now, he can't continue to do that because he's going to get hurt eventually. But the way the guy just plays, his competitiveness, this whole team thrives on that. And when he has the ball, the worst thing you can allow to do is, I always tell, quarterbacks, and especially defensively, don't let the guy play recess. And recess means they run all around. Don't let him do that. You want to keep him in the pocket because once he leaves the pocket, we got problems, boys.
Love that. Herm Edwards with us here on You Better You Bet. Coach, the LA Rams win the game last night, beat the Carolina Panthers the week before. I think you can make the argument because we know how good they are. I don't think that they played particularly well in either game, just that they won, and now they'll go to Seattle next weekend for round 3 against the Seahawks. What's your confidence level, Coach, following the first 2 games of the Rams in the postseason, heading into Seattle on Sunday, and the Seahawks obviously smoke the Niners on Saturday night, heading into the NFC Championship game?
Well, the Rams played in the best division of football. When you think about the 3 teams that were over there that got in the playoffs. San Francisco, which was the wounded team, and still found a way to get in there. Seattle, and then the Rams. And now it's boiling down to a team that's played each other, split with each other. And they're playing, Seattle with an outstanding defense as well. They can get after the quarterback. Darnold is a quarterback where, if you put a lot of pressure on him, his history tells you he'll turn the ball over. But if you don't, then you got a problem. It's not too big for the Rams. It's not too big for Matthew Stafford. They've played him twice. They've rushed him. They haven't sacked him, but they've rushed him. And if you can put pressure on him, you make him get the ball out of his hand. I think it'll be a very competitive game. These guys know each other. They play each other all the time. This is Matthew Stafford, one of his better years. He's probably going to be the MVP of the league. I mean, what he's been able to accomplish. They're a fun team to watch, the Rams. They got 2 dynamic receivers. They got a good running game. Stafford can throw it all over the place. They can score points. Seattle is known for their defense. They get after the quarterback. They play the run very well. I mean, when you watch how they played their playoff game, Seattle, it wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't even a fair fight. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. They were a dominant team. So it's going to be a fun game to watch.
And I got a good laugh out of the Niners kicker trying to trip Rashid Shaheed on the kick return to start the game. Felt like something out of like a Three Stooges skit. Like it's an obvious attempt at trying to trip. Coach, you're very generous with your time. Have one more for you if it's all right.
Sure.
The Houston Texans yesterday, New England was favored in the game and the Patriots are really good. I don't know how this gets spun in any other way than a massive disappointment for C.J. Stroud. So a 2-part question here. If you were DeMeco Ryans and you hit halftime of the game and Stroud is throwing, and he's brutal and I'm not saying he can never turn it around. He was horrific in the first half of that game. Would you have considered benching him to play Davis Mills? And what do you think has to happen now this offseason with the Texans and C.J. Stroud?
Well, I thought C.J. was very good in his press conference today when he spoke, when I heard what he said. And he took the share of it. He said, this was on me. I put the team in a bad situation, a situation that I got to correct going forward. But here again, he's helped this team get there too. They forget about all that at the end of the day. So, he had one of those games, you felt bad for him. And, his eyes got big. The game was big for him. And I thought D'Amico did a nice job in the sense that, hey, man, you got to keep playing. You're the quarterback. You got to get through this. And I think his team rallied around the guy because at the end, when you play with the ball, you affect the team. And it was a turnover game. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that ball was on the ground a lot by both parties, but, that hurt them. But the defense, without that defense, they might have got beat by 50. Turn the ball over that much. It was one of those games where you look at it and say, oh, my goodness. But with that being said, it's over. They have all offseason to think about it. The quarterback will as well. And I want to see him play next year. I think he's going to learn from this. That's my hope.
You would have done the same thing, Coach, at halftime? This is not like a gotcha question. I'm genuinely curious.
I'm not taking him out. He's going to play because I'm looking at him and he's our quarterback. Next year, he's going to be our quarterback. He's got to go through this.
Coach,
that's part of it. I'm here. That's part of it. He's got to go through it.
I mentioned that at the start. That was a great jacket you were wearing on ESPN this morning. Like, you looked
awesome.
You're
nice to say that. My wife dresses me. You're nice to say that.
No, I'm being serious. Like, I love green. Like, I wore a green like tuxedo at my wedding. You had this green jacket on this morning on ESPN. I was like, Coach looks awesome. So maybe tell your wife she did a great job with dressing you this morning, my man.
I will do that, my friend. Thank you.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. You're very generous. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coach Herman Edwards joining us here on You Better You Bet. What's that? That was Starships by Nicki Minaj, right? Is Herman Edwards' ringtone? No, like Tyler writes in our show chat. Herm has been on the show like 6 or 7 times at this point. He's been on the show a lot. He's such a nice guy, obviously, right? That's the second time that's happened where we've heard Starships by Nicki Minaj. I don't know what to tell you. And look, Herm is really respect. I kind of got the sense, and I don't even care that this is how it came across. I mean that. Herm's like listening to me being like, I'm like the sports radio host, and I'm like, yeah, they should fire McDermott. And he's like, well, you're dumb. And I coached and I played, so here's why they should have kept him. And I appreciate that from the great Herman Edwards. It's still playing, apparently. I don't know, like, my wife does this. My wife, like, doesn't hang up the phone when I call her. Like, if I'm talking to my wife, we'll break in a second. If I'm talking to my wife on the phone, and I'm like, okay, like, love you, talk to you later. And she's like, okay, bye. If I don't hang up, the conversation will just continue on in perpetuity. Like, there are some people that just, like, don't hang up the phone. I think that's fair. I can't wait to hang up on people. I'm dying to get off the phone. Dying. Even with people I like, I'm dying to get off the phone. Anyway, we'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll talk about the national championship game tonight with Indiana and Miami, the big beef that I've got with college football, and still to come later this hour, postmortems for the 2025 Chicago Bears and Houston Texans. On a Monday, Westwood One Sports, Nick Kostos with you, presented by BetMGM.
Fernando again looks to throw it. Now he's going deep, way deep, and the catch is made. What a play! Guess who? Charlie Becker again. 36 yards. Indiana scores.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Westwood One, courtesy of the highlight there. Remember when Indiana destroyed Oregon in the Peach Bowl? And it was really fun. Well, I guess the game kind of sucked. Whatever, it's like football's fun. Ole Miss Miami was pretty fun the night before. Sean McDonough, a great call of the game on Indiana, Oregon, joined us last week. Ole Miss Georgia was fun. Had some great games. You know what I enjoy? If I can be honest with everybody. Well, lots of things. The first thing that came to mind is something that I probably shouldn't say on the radio, which everybody enjoys, but sometimes you don't need to say it. Pizza. I like football. I love football. And tonight, I should be happy. I should be happy right now. Because tonight, we have the national championship game in college football. And the storylines, like a cup runneth over, as juicy as it possibly gets, like a wet towel, and you wring every ounce of moisture out of that son of a bitch. So much going on. Indiana, the doormats of college football for forever. Now the big bad favorite. And the Miami Hurricanes, legacy franchise program in college football. The lovable underdog. Think about that. Kurt Signetti trying to author the greatest turnaround in the history of life and win a national championship in year 2 at Indiana. Fernando Mendoza looking to cement his status as the number 1 overall pick in the draft to the Las Vegas Raiders in addition to winning the Heisman Trophy. And Mario Cristobal and Carson Beck looking to break through in improbable fashion and deliver a championship back to Coral Gables. And despite all of these meaty, juicy storylines, doesn't it feel like no one cares? Like the game is an afterthought. College football fans and media members that cover the sport, like me, and if you're listening to the show right now, Sirius 375, Odyssey app, Westwood One app, radio stations nationwide, perhaps you're watching the show right now on Nesson, locally in the New England area. We will talk about your Patriots coming up in a little bit. Great win by your Patriots yesterday against the Houston Texans. You're watching the show on Twitch. You're in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/@thekostos. We will read some YouTube comments coming up shortly here on the show. We all like to complain about college football, even though we love it. And there are various things that we complain about, right? We complain about NIL. We complain about the transfer portal. We complain about the calendar. We complain about coaches leaving. We complain, if you want to extend this out to college sports, we complain about NBA draft picks playing college basketball games in power conferences. The biggest problem that this sport has is that the national championship game is scheduled for the Monday after the divisional rounds of the playoffs. And no one cares about it, and no one's talking about it. And this should be a game that everyone cares about, and everyone's excited about, and everybody's talking about. And yes, when we get there tonight, and the game's about to kick off, and it's the only thing happening tonight in the world of sports, it's the thing that we're all going to be watching, and I'm going to lead the show tomorrow with it, and we're going to have a grand old time discussing it. I'm not suggesting no one's going to watch the game, but what I am saying is, it is a travesty that the game is placed today on this Monday. where you are coming off a stellar divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The Bills fire Sean McDermott. No one is talking about Indiana, Miami. And isn't that a shame? Isn't it a shame that this sport, coming off one of the best, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with this, I don't care, it's my opinion, one of the best college football seasons ever in my lifetime watching the sport, with a college basketball-style Final Four as a result of the expanded playoff. And we have to wait a week and a half following the semifinals with a ton of NFL playoff games and coaching firings and coaching hirings in between. And we're just going to smack this game on Monday night following the divisional round? It's a disservice to the sport. It's a disservice to college football. Who's talking about the game right now? We are 90 minutes into the show today, and this is the first time we've talked about the game. And I haven't even actually broken down the game itself because I'm so pissed about this. This should be in a spot. I don't. How about like Tuesday night, Wednesday night this week? Put it on Wednesday. Get far enough away from the NFL, right, from divisional round, and far enough from Championship Sunday, where like let the NFL own Monday, and then you start the build on Tuesday, and it's a fever pitch on Wednesday. Put the game on. What's the difference? College football puts the national championship game in a terrible spot. Where we got 90 minutes into the show today, it's the first time we reference it. And there would never have ever been a thought to do it at another time. Could you imagine if I led the show today with Indiana, Miami? You change the channel. You turn it off. You'd be like, where's the hell's the NFL breakdown? Isn't that a shame? And if the game's on Wednesday, you talk about it all day Thursday. But no, let's put it on Monday. Coming off the heels of riding in the wake of the NFL playoffs. What a joke. It's ridiculous. Now let's talk about the game, because I am very excited for the game, and I can't wait to watch it, and I'll have some money on the game tonight. So we've talked about all the storylines, right? I laid them out. Cignetti, Indiana, Mendoza, Cristobal Beck, Miami. Who do I think's going to win? I think Indiana's going to win. I don't say that with a tremendous amount of confidence because Miami does have dudes. NFL caliber players on both lines of scrimmage. With their right tackle, who's going to go top 10, Muag. I'm going to butcher his name. I'm not even going to try and do it. But an offensive tackle that's going to go top 10 per a lot of mock drafters. Ruben Bain's going to go in the top 10. Like, Miami's got NFL studs. And if you wanted to construct a team to compete with Indiana, and I can't even believe I'm saying that, Indiana beat Ohio State, just mollywopped Alabama, and then eviscerated and emasculated Oregon. To compete, what a sentence, to compete with Indiana, not in basketball, in football. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports, on social media at the Kostos, TheKostos. Miami would be the team that could do it. Now, my problem with betting Miami to cover, and certainly with betting Miami to win, while acknowledging I think the game could be very close, for the reasons I just laid out. Curt Cignetti and Mario Cristobal needs to get credit, right? He's one win away from a national championship. He does deserve a lot of credit. As an in-game coach, Curt Cignetti versus Mario Cristobal. It'd be like if Andre the Giant fought Rey Mysterio in like a real fight. Like not the WWE match. Like Andre the Giant versus Rey Mysterio. Like that's what this would be as far as in-game coaching is concerned. Cignetti's gonna run laps around him. I think Indiana's gonna win the game. Are they gonna cover? Maybe. My preferred bet is going to be the under. 47.5 is the total right now at BetMGM. Where my guess is Indiana's not going to, I don't think Indiana's scoring 50 plus like Indiana did against them. Maybe. I don't think they will. I think Miami's defense is too good. And I think if you're Indiana, and I said this heading into the Oregon game, right? If Indiana plays Indiana's game, Indiana just does what Indiana is going to do, they're going to win. So keep the ball out of harm's way. Don't do anything crazy, and you're probably going to win in the end. So I think you'll probably see, not definitely, but probably, and we'll talk to pro sports bettor Joey Knish about this next hour. We'll get his opinion on the matter, his bets on the matter. I think you may see a conservative game plan from Indiana, which doesn't mean 3 yards on a cloud of dust and punt, just that I think Indiana knows it could control the game and don't increase variance in the game and do anything crazy to give Miami a chance. And on the flip side, I think Mark Fletcher is awesome. Malachi Toney looks like he could step in onto an NFL. Imagine if the Bills had Malachi Toney in their receiving core, maybe they beat the Broncos on Saturday. The Dolphins, the Hurricanes, Miami, the football team, the college football team. Miami does have some guys. I think Carson Beck has the propensity to make some mistakes. And Indiana, I think, can pounce on those mistakes. So I think the Hoosiers will win. Lower scoring game. Let's go somewhere in the range of 24-17 Indiana, 24-14 Indiana, somewhere in that range. So I think Indiana will win the Natty. That'll be the lead of tomorrow's show. My preferred bet, the game goes under the total. Would I be stunned if Miami won? Yes and no. I guess it wouldn't be that nuts if Miami won, but I would be surprised if the Miami Hurricanes won the game. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Just with the way Indiana's looked and the fact that they are annihilating the competition leads me to believe that they will at least win the game, if not win by margin. On the other side, postmortems for the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. And we have more breaking news as it concerns the Buffalo Bills and their firing of head coach Sean McDermott. We will share it with you next and get to some of your YouTube comments. So send them in, youtube.com/@thekostos here on Westwood One Sports.
Snap goes back four-man rush. He's chased, he's flushed, he's all the way back to the 40. He's backpedaling and throws a pass into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Touchdown! Chicago has caught a touchdown pass with Cole Kmet open in the corner. If you hadn't seen it, you would not believe it.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
You got to be listening to the NFL playoff action on Westwood One Sports. Kevin Harlan with an unbelievable job last night of the Caleb Williams. We haven't even just how crazy the show is. All the breaking news, Bills firing Sean McDermott. We got Mike, give me some YouTube comments also. We got to get those into the show at some point to pay it off. The YouTube chat is buzzing on this Monday morning. A lot going on in the world of sports. And our show sponsor is BetMGM. And BetMGM account holders will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. Score a bigger payout if your wager with the Parlay Boost token hits. Tokens can be used on parlays and same-game parlays. Please gamble responsibly and download the BetMGM app today. YouTube.com/@thekostos. Matty Eager 5585. King Kostos is a morning quadruple shot of espresso of entertainment. I'm biased, Matty, but I agree. Our friend Kevin Hilmers, same as Harbaugh with McDermott getting fired. Need to change up the mojo. Tomlin too, all the same argument. All great coaches. Now I will improvise and give you my best imitation of the late, great Owen Hart. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Our guy Brian Van Gorder. Bears arguably outplayed the Rams and couldn't get it done, but an awesome season. Caleb's a dude. Ben Johnson a savage. Bears will be back, but this sucks. It does suck, and I'll talk about the Bears in a second. I agree with all of that. Jimmy Underhill. Matt LaFleur should not have been extended. This should have been a show-me year. Regular season success is meaningless if you crumble like a dessert when it matters most. Now I'm hungry. I actually kind of think crumb cake's a little overrated, honestly. I'm not a huge crumb cake guy. But generally, desserts that have some kind of crumble in them are pretty good. I like that from Jimmy Underhill. Pine Needle. I would use caution when evaluating the Seahawks beating up on the fourth-string members of the Niners. The Seahawks took back the opening kickoff, and then injury after injury after injury by the Niners, and nobody left standing by the second quarter. So yes, Pine Needle, you're right about that. I'll split the difference here. You know, Seattle won the game 41-6. Like, they did what they were supposed to do. Can we criticize them for that? Just because San Francisco was injured? Like, they didn't win 10-7 with all the injuries. They annihilated the Niners. So I both agree and disagree with you. Our pal Jay Wickers says the Bills need to call Kurt Signetti tomorrow morning. I'm all for NFL teams trying to lure Sig to the NFL level. He has come out and said that he's not going to the NFL, and he made the decision a long time ago that he's a college football coach. I mean, money talks and BS walks, so we'll see. My guess is Kurt Signetti stays at the college level, which doesn't mean that those teams shouldn't make the call. I just don't know if he would come to the NFL, given everything that he said, especially if India, well, maybe, I'm going to say, especially if they win the title, maybe that would make him more like, because what else are you going to do? Win another one? You could. It all is very interesting. You better you bet on this Monday, youtube.com/@thekostos. I'll save the Texans to start next hour. Do a little Chicago Bears postmortem here. What a season. You're a Bears fan. I would certainly understand being deflated today and losing the game, and particularly the way it happened, because you know, I'm not a Bears fan, but we're all sports fans. And when you get that close, and it's why, like, I actually had someone reach out to me recently because I said last week on the show, when I was talking about how awesome wildcard weekend was, when I said Giants-Niners is the worst loss of my sports life in the wildcard rounds in 2000, following the 02 season, January 4th, 03. Giants up 38-14 and lose 39-38, the Trey Junkin game. Bill Zimmerman wrote in the chat, Trey Judkins, like Trey Junkin married Ohio State running back, Browns running back, Quinshon Judkins. Trey Junkin. Yeah. And I had someone ask me, well, what about Super Bowl 35 against the Ravens? That's the Super Bowl. The Giants, and I've told this story before. My dad, rest his soul, turned to me on the first snap of the game and said to me, I will never forget it, verbatim. Kerry Collins, was talking about, I don't know if he said Kerry Collins or his. He's talking about Kerry Collins. His eyes are wider than dinner plates. We're going to get killed. And they did. And as a fan, for me, I think sometimes you'd rather have that. Where, like, you lose 17-10, right? And the pass to Kmet doesn't happen. You don't get the chance to go to overtime. It's a terrible way to lose. Getting that close, getting the ball in overtime with a chance to win. And DJ Moore, who maybe I'm a little prisoner, maybe I'm overreacting, and I mean that sincerely. If I'm a Chicago Bears fan, I want him off the team. Like, yes, he makes some great plays sometimes. He does. He's a good football player. But he also loafs a lot. And you can't have that where he's quitting on a route and jogging like it's a 7-on-7 practice in May. And not overtime of the divisional round of the postseason. Quitting on that route, Cam Curl picks it off. And Matthew Stafford leads the Rams down for the Mevis and Butthead game-winning field goal. So yes, it sucks to lose that way. But I'll say this about the Bears. The Chicago Bears made this NFL season better, objectively, as a fan. As a fan of football, the Bears were massively entertaining. Exceptionally entertaining. They made this season better. And thank you to the Bears for that. And if you're a Bears fan, I get it if you're upset. I think you need to be happy. And not just happy, like giddy, joyous. Your quarterback is a monster. A monster. I felt like this was the scene in Swingers. Vince Vaughn says to Jon Favreau, my baby boy is all grown up. Because it's not just the throw to Kmet, which is like a dude-perfect trick shot you'd watch on YouTube or like something on Instagram that would get like up to 10 million views. It was a real-life play in the divisional round of the football, of the NFL playoffs. He makes plays and throws that like no one else in the history of the league can make. I thought he outplayed Matthew Stafford last night. And to the box score monkeys and idiots that will say, well, he threw 3 interceptions, it sucked. Did you watch the game? Herman Edwards compared him to Brett Favre. I think it's an apt comparison. In year 2, Brett Favre threw 24 picks for the Packers and went 9-7. In year 2, Caleb Williams went 12-5, won the NFC North, and almost beat the Rams in the divisional rounds of the playoffs. This guy's a future most valuable player in the NFL. If you're a Bears fan, you need to be through the frickin' moon. On the other side, I've got one last thing to say about the Chicago Bears. We'll talk the Houston Texans, spin on the coaching carousel. Joey Knish will join us. What a veritable buffet of sports on this Monday.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Kenny. Final hour. Power hour. You better you bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our unbelievable crew, whoever the hell you are. The Power Hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. Pro sports bettor Joey Knish will join us about 25 minutes from now. All of Knish's bets for the national championship game tonight in college football with Indiana and Miami. And we'll get Knish's early reads on Championship Sunday in the National Football League as well. To close the show today, all of my bets for tonight in the world of sports, and that's not just Indiana and Miami, but NBA games throughout the day on Martin Luther King Day. So we'll give you some bets for the NBA. I got a couple games that I really like tonight in the association, so all of that is coming up to close the show. This is normally where we reiterate some of the stories from the top of the show, but we have had so much breaking news during the show today that we have to hit some of it now. So we told you earlier that the Buffalo Bills fired head coach Sean McDermott, which, to me, great. Couple years too late, but that's okay. McDermott is a great coach, but needed to go. Absolutely needed to happen. You can't keep bringing him back and adding every year to the montage that at some point is going to be longer than the in memoriam at the Academy Awards of all the people that croak during the year that was in film in Hollywood. You can't keep doing it. Here's another gut punch loss, heart stopping loss, soul crushing loss. You can't keep doing it. Can't keep doing it. Had to fire Sean McDermott. Now, we asked Herman Edwards when he joined the show, last hour on the show. I asked Herm, are you surprised that the Bills kept general manager Brandon Beane? And Herm has hashtag, he's seen some stuff. He's been in the league forever. It just, just the gravity of that, just for a moment, just as an aside. When Herm said to me, do you know how long I've been doing this? I'm thinking, you've been doing this do you know how long I've been doing this? How long have you? The setup to a bad joke. But I was thinking, I've been using this expression in the wilderness to describe where the Giants have been over the last decade. If you're a Giants fan of a certain age, and I know this because I grew up a Giants fan and my grandfather is a Giants fan and my dad's a Giants fan, right? You're a Giants fan of a certain age, you know that the original wilderness period was the 70s for the Giants. And I'm not going to make this a huge Giants thing, but the NFL had to step in, make Wellington Mara hire George Young, and then Parcells gets the head coaching job and everything gets turned around. And the big tipping point for all of that was the miracle at the Meadowlands, the original one. Not the Deshaun Jackson punt return in the 2009 season, but the Joe Pisarcik fumble on the handoff to Larry Zonka, playing out the string as a Giant, and Herman Edwards takes it into the end zone. Herm's been doing this for a long ass time. And Herm goes, yeah, I'm not surprised. He knows how the politics work in the NFL. So we get this news that broke about 20 minutes ago in real time. So this is in addition, obviously, to Sean McDermott being fired. That the Buffalo Bills have promoted general manager Brandon Beane, and he is now the president of football operations and will oversee all facets of the organization. Now, I have no idea if what I'm about to say is true. I can be way wrong, and a Bills reporter can hear this or see this and say, you know what, he's not even close. And that could be right. You have to imagine that this is like a Game of Thrones maneuvering happening behind the scenes here. And Brandon Beane won the game of musical chairs. And you can make the case, and a lot of Bills fans have, to me, over the last few years, and certainly even this morning, that Brandon Beane needed to go in addition to Sean McDermott. And our friend Ben Solak from ESPN tweeting that the Bills have 2 Pro Bowl players that he's drafted since Josh Allen, James Cook and Dawson Knox. And, Keon Coleman was a second, even though he scored a touchdown, he's been a disaster. And there isn't a lot of talent around Josh Allen. That's fair. And you can tell me that the Bills need to fire Brandon Beane. My whole thing is, like, you have Josh Allen, like, it shouldn't matter. You should be able to win. So that's why I think McDermott needed to go. If Beane got fired also, I wouldn't bat a single eyelash if that were the case. But the fact that Beane not only kept his job, but got promoted, this is like in Office Space, one of the great comedies of all time, if people haven't seen it. When Peter Gibbons, Peter Gibbons, the main character, decides, like, I'm going to stop going to work and stop giving a damn. And by doing so, makes himself so attractive to the bosses that he gets promoted. Like, this is Brandon Beane. Like, what happened? Oh, well, he lost again in the playoffs. Oh, you did? Well, here's your promotion to president of football operations. Look, I don't have the answers for everybody. I can just give you my opinions on the things that happen. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. Just my opinion. Okay. We got some postmortems to do on the Bears and the Texans. And then we have some other NFL coaching news we'll get to here in this segment. So my last note on the Bears, for the Bears fans out there, and I said in last hour is, you're a Bears fan, sucks to lose that game last night, but you got to be fired up, man, with Caleb Williams. And I have to check myself in moments like this, because I didn't check myself, and then I wrecked my bankroll by betting the Commanders to make the playoffs this season. Because there were a lot of people that said, and there is a huge analog between the two, right? Think about the fashion in which the Bears won a lot of these games, right? Cardiac Caleb with the insane comebacks and the mind-numbing throws that he makes, where you can't even believe what you're watching. And it's easy, and all the turnovers that the defense forced, right? And maybe that's not repeatable. And you could easily construct an argument where, maybe I'm one of the first people to say this. I'll be far from the last. A lot of people will say it leading up to the start of next season. The 2026 Chicago Bears could very easily be the 2025 Washington Commanders. Which doesn't mean that Caleb will get hurt and they'll bottom out and fire the coordinators. That's not what I'm saying. Just that maybe they're a team that exceeded expectations this year in a major way and fall short of what will be heightened expectations next season. And of course that can happen. I would say the difference between the two, and more candidly, like, I fell short a little bit in my handicap of the 25 Commanders, and hindsight's 20/20, but I was way wrong. And Daniels got hurt, obviously. Ben Johnson and Dan Quinn are not running the same race. Ben Johnson's way better. And, Caleb Williams, I'm not trying to put this into the universe, but, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be honest. Jaden Daniels is more likely to get hurt than basically any other quarterback in the league. And it's not just because of the style he plays. Like, Jackson Dart plays a style and gets hurt a lot because he's constantly putting himself in harm's way. But Jaden Daniels is slight, and he's awesome. I think Jaden Daniels is tremendous. He's not a big guy. And it's not that Caleb Williams is Cam Newton or Josh Allen, but he's bigger than Jaden Daniels and seems like he can absorb hits better than Jaden Daniels. So I think that's going to be a hot thing this offseason, is going to be, well, the Bears have to fall short of expectations. And there are good reasons why. Again, all the turnovers, what if that regresses? The late game heroics, what if you lose a couple of those? Then what happens? I get it. I just think, and maybe I'm falling for the trap again. I need Admiral Akbar to come in and tell me it's a trap. I think the quarterback's too good and the head coach is too good. That'll be a conversation for the summer, but that's where my opinion is on where things stand now. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos here with you, Westwood One Sports. So yesterday, Texans-Patriots was the last broadcast of the season for Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on ESPN. Fox and CBS have the championship games next week, and then NBC with Tirico and Collinsworth have the Super Bowl. And on their last broadcast of the year, Buck and Aikman, specifically Aikman, went out with a bang. In the closing moments of New England's 28-16 win over the Houston Texans, Troy Aikman had this to say about Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud has been chasing his rookie success for the last 2 years. He's not been the same player. We've not seen the development from him. There's a reason for that, and it has to be addressed. 7 turnovers in the 2 playoff games. So your most important games of the year, you just can't overcome that kind of quarterback play.
Aikman's 100% right. C.J. Stroud, for 2 years now, and they've gone to the divisional round, which is a credit to the coaching staff and the rest of the team. C.J. Stroud, for the last 2 years, has not even been close to what he was his rookie season. And it kind of, Bill Zimmerman texted our show chat yesterday during the game, and he wrote something, and I read it, I was like, you're crazy. And then I thought about it a little more, and Bill might be right. We were all really quick to bury Bobby Slowick. Remember the PFF darling, the Texans offensive coordinator year 1 with Stroud and with DeMeco Ryans, who got head coaching buzz after that year, and then was so bad last year that they fired him and hired Nick Kostos to be the offensive coordinator. Are we sure this is a coaching problem and not a C.J. Stroud problem? Where I said last year, I have sources in the NFL, I don't in other sports, and I always say that to you guys here on the show, who told me that C.J. Stroud kind of coasted on his laurels following his rookie year, didn't put the work in heading into year 2, and apparently put the work in going into year 3. Well, if you listened to him in the post-game press conference yesterday, he basically said he didn't. And there are all these things he needs to improve on. Now, I'm going to say something right, and I don't know how this is going to come across, but I need to say it. And I'll preface it by saying this, and these are dangerous waters to wade into. But this is something that bothers me with C.J. Stroud. And I will preface this by saying, I am religious. I go to church. I'm a practicing Catholic. I don't broadcast that on the air. I don't try and Bible thump. I don't try and convince anyone of anything. And you know that, the listeners and viewers of this show. But I am not anti-religion. I don't like that C.J. Stroud has these brutal games and gets up there and is just like, well, God's got me, it's okay. Because that can be true. And I'm not insinuating that it's not true at all. Nor am I saying that he shouldn't be religious or that people can't be religious. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't. You do whatever the hell you want. But it's this kind of who cares attitude. I was horrible in this game, but God's got me, no problem. Again, you can believe that and you can go home and think that. And be like, you know what? There are more important things than football. And fair. There are more important things to me than this show. Not many, but there are. Right? That can all be true. But I think that kind of stuff, when DeMeco Ryans goes, God's got us and we've got C.J. Stroud. How about the fact that he stunk in the game yesterday? How about that? That kind of stuff rubs me the wrong way a little bit, because it's almost who cares about my job? Who cares about the job? I have my faith and that's what matters. And awesome. And I hope he's happy, and I mean that sincerely. But at some point, the job's got to matter. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter to him. But you watch his interviews. You watch it. He puts the ball up in harm's way in such a fashion that you're is he on drugs when he throws some of these balls in the air? And I'm kidding. He's obviously not. But I mean, on one of the other side, Harrison Bryant falls down on a play that's clearly designed for him to throw it to the tight end. He trips over the center, right? And Stroud, short circuits and just throws the ball up in the air and it gets picked off for a pick 6. What's he thinking? He's Nathan Peterman in this game yesterday. He's horrific. And I disagree with Herman Edwards. And I said as much to Herm, and we had a really respectful conversation about it. When Herm's like, yeah, I would have played Stroud in the second half. Here's what I know. Say it all the time. And it's true. The facts bear it out. Defense is less sticky year to year than offense. What does that mean? It means if you have a number 1 offense one year, the chances of you being a really good offense next year are greater than if you're a number 1 defense one year of you being a top defense the next year. The Texans defense this year, we pumped them up here on the show. A lot of people did. And, they were awesome in the game yesterday, but ultimately, you had the Kayshon Boutte long touchdown. and the Douglas touchdown on 4th and 1, and the Diggs touchdown, and then you had that drive at the end where they just ran the ball down the Texans' throats. Where the Texans' defense was not the 2000 Ravens, wasn't the 15 Broncos, was not the 85 Bears. If C.J. Stroud played instead of an F- game, which it was, what if he was a C yesterday? Would the Texans have won? Or at least had the game been closer? My point is, you have no idea if the Texans' defense will be this good again next year. No idea. It's probably not going to be bad. What if the defensive coordinator, what if Matt Burke gets a job? Head coaching job. Will Anderson gets hurt. They don't force as many turnovers. Whatever it is. We see it all the time. It's the ultimate week-to-week and year-to-year league. I feel like by doubling down and sticking with Stroud in the second half, you wasted this defense. I think you needed to see what Davis Mills could have given you. This was as bad as it gets from C.J. Stroud. And there's no excusing it. And again, this wasn't like your normal run-of-the-mill, like brutally quarterbacked game. Like, one that comes to mind for me. In the Cardinals-Panthers NFC Championship game in 2015, Carson Palmer turned the ball over like 19 times. I bet Cardinals +3 in that game, one of the worst wagers of my life. Carson Palmer turned the ball over like 1,000,000 times. But it was like normal turnovers. Like, they're not good, he didn't play well. C.J. Stroud, these turnovers are like, is he preparing for these games, or do you just like show up on game day and wing it? It's okay, God's got him. Okay, like God's got you, but the Patriots have the football. How do you reconcile with that? It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin to Jake the Snake Roberts at King of the Ring 96. Like, you got your Psalms, you got your Bible verses. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. And great. C.J. Stroud can say whatever he wants. And I'm religious. I'm not hating on it at all. It falls on deaf ears if you're not going to perform. You got to take more accountability. And he did take some. But for me, not enough. Now, Bryce Young's going to get his 5th-year option picked up by the Carolina Panthers, right? We think that's going to happen. And if Bryce Young's getting his 5th-year option picked up, C.J. Stroud's going to, and he should. You're the Texans. Are you going to give C.J. Stroud a long-term contract this summer? Are you extending him? I wouldn't. And I'm not saying he can't be good. He's gotten you to the divisional round 3 years in a row. He deserves the chance to be the starting quarterback next year and see how it goes. I'd make him prove it. That's just me. You can disagree. You, the listener, you, the viewer. I feel pretty strongly about that for C.J. Stroud and the Texans. That they wasted a potential historic defense with and I don't care that Nico Collins didn't play. This wasn't like 130 yards of total offense and no turnovers. They gave the game away. You bet on this Monday. And on the Patriots front, because I feel like New England's kind of getting a little bit job tier because the Texans were so bad. Look, Drake may put the ball on the ground a bunch. At the end of the day, he made a couple really awesome throws. And Ramondre Stevenson looked really good. And that defense was swarming. And yes, Stroud was part of it. But the defense was great. And the Patriots will enter Championship Sunday at Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos as a big favorite. And they should be. And maybe I'll bet Denver to cover. But it looks like New England's going back to the Super Bowl. And there are a lot of people who will say and be angry that New England is back at the football mountaintop. Angry because of the 2-decade run of success with Brady and Belichick. And it's not fair that the Patriots are back. And it's not fair that they've got this stud second-year quarterback. And it's not fair that they had an easy schedule this season. And it's not fair that they got the Chargers Swiss cheese offensive line on Wild Card Sunday night. And it's not fair that C.J. Stroud was horrendous yesterday. And it's not fair that next week they get a backup quarterback in the Denver Broncos with Jarrett Stidham. I got news for everybody. Life's not fair. And in life, we all get dealt a set of cards. And you can't say, you know what? I don't want the 2 of clubs. Give me the ace of diamonds. That's not how it works. You play the hand you're dealt. The Patriots have, and they're winning because of it. It would have been really easy in the wake of the Bill Belichick fiasco at the end of that for New England, for this franchise to go one way. They drafted Drake May. They made a terrible head coaching hire with Gerard Mayo, and Robert Kraft recognized it and addressed it and fixed it and made the right hire at head coach with Mike Vrabel and made the right decision to bring back Josh McDaniels to run the offense and spent money wisely this offseason. Where they had all that money to spend, there was, you can't improve the team with free agency? Bullcrap. Here's Milton Williams, and here's Carlton Davis, and here's the free agent acquisitions. Milton Williams is a monster in the middle of that defensive line. You got to give him credit. You don't have to like it. I'm a New York sports fan. I don't love that New England's back in it. I'm a Giants fan, but still, I don't love that. I'm a Yankee fan. But you got to be honest. You cannot like it and still tell the truth and say, you know what? They deserve a ton of credit. And they will likely, not definitely, but likely play for a Super Bowl championship years after the Brady-Belichick ending. And that deserves a ton of praise. At the end of the show, we'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons hiring Kevin Stefanski, give you all my bets for tonight in the world of sports. But on the other side, let's get you, dear listener, and you, dear viewer, set to bet and win tonight for the national championship game in college football. Pro sports bettor Joey Knish joins us next on You Better You Bet.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
I muted my microphone. Sorry for the people watching on YouTube. We're back here on You Better You Bet. We will get into Kevin Stefanski and the Atlanta Falcons at the end of the show, and why something a little under the radar with Atlanta, I think, is going to propel them to a division championship next year in the NFC South. So we'll do that. Take a spin on the coaching carousel and all my bets for tonight in the world of sports, including the national championship game. And speaking of the national championship game tonight in college football, it's insane that it's tonight. Feels like an afterthought. I hate that because I love college football, and I'm going to watch the hell out of this game. Joining us right now to break it down. Man, I've had people reach out to me, and these are like new fans of You Better You Bet here in the new time slot on Westwood One Sports, to tell me, like, that Kanish guy you have on is awesome. Also, like, is he going to die? Because last time we had him on, he was very under the weather. Joining us right now, professional sports bettor. He is the host of Hit the Books, which is a great college football betting show with our friend Brad Powers. Kanish didn't want to say his name, like he was like some kind of like racist or sexist or something around Epstein Island last time we had him on. Brad Powers and Kanish do the show. You can find Hit the Books on YouTube. You can find it in podcast form on Twitter at Joey Kanish22. Kanish, welcome back to the show. How's it going?
Nicky, baby, we're back. We are back full on this week. We got the road going. Listen, the flu, it tried to take me down, but it's good. You need a lesser man than me to take. I don't know if it's flu A, flu B, COVID, whatever it was. Couldn't take it down, and we're back here for the granddaddy of them all, the Natty, ready to go.
I love it. So let's get to it, and I'd love to get your thoughts also on Championship Sunday in the NFL. But let's start with college football, Kanish, and I'd love to hit you with side, total, and then props. So let's start with the side of the game tonight. And it looks like today on Monday, on game day, that the Miami Hurricanes have drawn some interest in the betting market. We were at 8.5 early this morning with the Hoosiers favored. The number now at BetMGM, Kanish, is 7.5. And it looks like we're going down to 7. So the 7.5 is juiced towards the Miami Hurricanes. And for people out there that don't bet, if this goes down to 7, it's a pretty significant move in the betting market if that happens towards Miami. The total holding steady at 47.5. Let's start with the side of the game, Kanish. How are you betting it? Indiana, a touchdown, 7.5 point favorite against Miami.
I'm swimming with the fish tonight. I'm squaring it up. I know, a nameless co-host of the show I do might like Miami. I know some other people, in the sharper moves that have gotten on Miami here, especially at a 7. If we see a 7 pop, I haven't dipped in yet. I'm going with the Hoosiers tonight. Listen, I can't. I know you want to talk to me about, numerically, the sharp move in Miami and that. I think you've got one team that is probably the best coaching staff in all of college football, that plays some of the cleanest football in the country. That is just, it feels like one of those teams, almost like a Michigan a few years ago, where they're just running through people, and this is going to happen. And on the other side of it, now, if they were playing, a super talented, absolutely buttoned up team, I don't see that. I know they're good in the trench, but I don't think they're that buttoned up. I don't think Carson Beck is, particularly elite, like we have some elite quarterbacks that we're going against. You could sell me on a few teams to fade this team in a different scenario, but not this Miami team. I think Indiana gets it done, and I think they could. I think there's a chance they might even roll it up a little bit. I think the train is not stopping, and the SIG is going, and the Hoosiers are your national champs tonight, and they win by a little bit of margin.
So just for the people out there, Kanish, and like the bettors in our audience, kind of I think know the answer to this question based on the way you phrased it. But for the more casual bettors in the audience, or people looking to dip their toes in the water a little bit, let's say the number 7.5, Indiana's 7.5 point favorite. Would you would your advice be to lay Indiana 7.5, or are you looking only, and your advice to people in our audience would be Indiana -7, and that's the number you want to bet, not 7.5?
You definitely listen. I'd be on the lookout, I think you'll see some 7s pop before game time, and that's the number you want. That's the number I'm going to be looking to lay before game time. At 7.5, you know what, then you got to be a little bit equitable with your staking there, right? So if, like, to me, it would be a bigger play for me at 7. If I can get that at 7.5, I would reduce the stake down to be a little smaller. It's still going to be the side I'm on, but really be on the lookout for a 7 there if you can get in before a game, which I do think will keep popping as we see kind of the wave of Miami money and a bunch of juice 7.5. There'll be some places around that are going to 7. And so that'll be, especially if I can get, a flat 7, that'll be a larger win night.
Pro Sports Bettor Joey Knish here with us on You Better You Bet. On Twitter, Joey Knish 22. Bets for the national championship game tonight with Indiana and Miami. All right. So Indiana, the side of choice for Knish. He wants to lay 7 with the Hoosiers. Knish, I like the under in the game. I like under 47.5, but you're the pro bettor. I'm not. What do you say about the total? 47.5 right now at BetMGM.
Yeah, you know what? I would lean with you there. I think especially some of these games with a little bit of the national champion, long layoff. I also think you could get a scenario here where you've got a couple of teams that, especially Miami, they want to lean on the run game in the trench. Like if they're going to win this game, if there's a Miami game script, it's probably they dominate on the run. They're probably one of the better offensive lines in the country, and they slow it down here, and you're not playing a high tempo. And you even saw Indiana, even though, in games, have they running up against peasants and dropped 50 and all that stuff a number of times this year? Yes. But in their more competitive games, you see them take a little bit different style, a little bit more physical, slow style of game plan there. So I agree. I think with the script and what both teams want to do, and especially if this game's going to be, like if it's a closer game, that I think you see it get a little bit tight, a little bit slowed down. Both teams want to run the ball. I'm with you on the under. I think the number's a little bit thin for me in terms of wanting to make a big play, but if I'm betting it either way, it would be an under lean.
All right, so 47.5 the total. Knish leaning towards the under. Let's do some props if you've got any, Knish, and like I'll say it now. I just think Malachi Toney could play on Sundays right now. I think if he played for the Bills on Saturday, maybe they wouldn't have lost to the Denver Broncos, and we would have both won our bet on Buffalo. I kind of like his receiving yards over 61.5. Any props for Joey Knish tonight in the national championship game?
You know what? Just before I jumped on here, I played a little Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee. Hashtag Gus Johnson, over 46.5 tonight, right around there. I think 45, 46, most of the market for over receiving yards. He's kind of the breakout guy through this run for me. I like that. I think they'll spread it around a little bit. I know Surratt got a lot of the action last game. But Becker, for me, especially in the big moments, kind of like that's the guy that I like Mendoza looks to. And I think he'll get like a good run, especially if Miami's defensive line has success in this game in terms of slowing down Indiana a little bit, just in terms of the run game. That probably opens up. I think they'll have to spread it out a little bit, more quick passing, which leads itself to some more Becker targets. So give me Charlie B here on the over receiving yardage.
So Indiana for Knish -7, a lean towards under 47.5, and Charlie Becker over receiving yards for the Indiana Hoosiers, 46.5 at BetMGM. Joey Knish's plays tonight in the national championship game here on Westwood One Sports. Knish, I'm going to give you a pretty open-ended question here, and if you don't have a massively strong opinion now, obviously it's fine. This college football season isn't even over yet. And I'm going to ask you something about next season. Now, we don't have markets open, etc. We don't know how things are going to go with the transfer portal, and the sport is insane, obviously. Do you have an opinion that's developed over the course of bowl season during the playoff for next season, right? Where I kind of think Arch Manning's going to win the Heisman next year with the addition of Cam Coleman, or Dante Moore's coming back to Oregon, and maybe you think that they're going to win the national championship next year. Maybe you don't. But do you have an opinion on next year's college football season, Knish, that's developed here over the last couple weeks or month?
I think you're seeing right now, and this is a little bit of a macro opinion, a kind of seismic shift in who are the real major programs in college football, and it all has to do with how well funded you are. I think Indiana is here to stay. If you look at their NIL and how much money they're raising and how much, this is turning into a financial sport. It's no longer, the SEC car dealerships where somebody's handing you $10K in a bag and that suffices. And you're seeing previous powers like Florida State, like in Alabama, that I don't think are as financially flush as some of the, the major tier programs in college football, I think they're going to struggle. And you look at some of the transfer portal classes, some of the high-end classes, there are schools that you would never dream, like Cal, like a Duke, like some of these schools that have very well-funded alumni that I think are now seeing this Indiana run and saying, hey, if we can raise enough donor money, we can actually be a real player in football. And I think over the next few years, you're going to see a difference between the kind of the haves and the have-nots of college football now, and a lot of programs that you would never think were contending in a year, like in Indiana, like a Vanderbilt, who have a bunch of flush alumni that for the first time in their lifetime want to be good at football. Now you might be seeing it. So I think we're seeing quite a change in who the traditional powers are going to be year over year.
And hell, we saw with Texas Tech going to the college football playoff and getting a bye this year as well. The best team that money could buy until they played Oregon. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos here with you on Westwood One Sports, presented by BetMGM. Our guest for a couple more minutes, pro sports bettor Joey Knish. Check out his college football betting show, Hit the Books, on YouTube and in podcast form. Just search Hit the Books. Knish, would love to get your opinion on both games on Championship Sunday before we get you out of here. Let's start with the Patriots and the Broncos in Denver, where Jarrett Stidham will obviously start for the Broncos. And I know you kind of hate that the Patriots have this easy road. It is what it is. Drake May in New England, 5.5-point road favorites at Denver. Total of the game is 41. It feels to me, Knish, like if we get to 6, that maybe we're like floating out a little too far with the Bo Nix injury here. Curious your opinion on the betting market for the AFC title game. Patriots 5.5 at Denver.
When it comes to Boston and New England sports, due to my undying hatred of that region, but did the Broncos lose John Elway, prime John Elway at quarterback? I'm sorry. If this game, let's say Bo Nix is 100% healthy, and we're looking at somewhere, around pick, maybe even at best, New England, a small -1, -1.5 fave. If anything, maybe Denver, a small favorite. And now we're going all the way. There were some 6s out last night. I think we'll see a 6 again. Give me the Broncos country. Let's ride. Give me the Broncos. I love Jarrett Stidham. I saw, a little bit like when Sean Payton came in, one of the guys that he was first wanted on the team just to be in the rotate was Jarrett Stidham. A little Stidham revenge game from the time in New England. I don't think the downgrade from Knicks to Stidham is going to be very significant at all. I think it could be, I'm talking, where I would have it a couple of points, and this is basically a full touchdown. I think Stidham can come in. I think he can run the offense, and I think this Patriots team might be the most overrated team in the history of the AFC Championship for this run that they've made. Give me the Broncos. I think this game's going to be close. I think Stidham just fine. I'm taking I bet some 6. If you want to wait around, see if the 6 comes back, I don't blame people. But anything to me, I was going to bet Broncos at anything at 4.5 or better. So anything above that is a Broncos play for me. I'm riding in this one. I think they're live in this game, and I think the downgrade from Knicks to Stidham is nowhere near as significant as what this line indicates.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that over the course of the week. And for the non-bettors in the audience that are like, well, how could you like the Broncos in the game? Just think about that, right? If Denver's going to be a small favorite with Bo Nix, do you, the listener or viewer, think that it's such a precipitous drop from Knicks to Stidham that it merits New England being a 6-point road favorite? I kind of agree with Knish's handicap of the game and would like Denver at that number. And last one for you, my friend. I have BetMGM up in front of me right now. The NFC Championship game has moved to 3. Seattle is a 3-point home. Now the 3 is heavily juiced towards the Rams. So we're like in between 2.5 and 3. But if people were so inclined, they could bet an expensive +3 with the LA Rams right now. Total 47.5. Your thoughts, Knish, on the NFC title game to wrap?
This is one I'm probably not going to come in as strong on this one. There were some very early Seattle prices out there where it was under 3. This to me is I don't hate if you're like Seattle and you want them under at 2.5. If you like the Rams at 3, I get it. I think Seattle's a much better overall team. But if you want to tell me in a NFC Championship game scenario that you want Matt Stafford getting a field goal versus Sam Darnold, that's to me, I know it's a little Nicky narrative streak here, but it's hard for me to dispute that, when you're getting the better coach, like I think the better offensive staff, significantly the better quarterback, the offense that, again, very look good, coming down after a Bears performance where, it was freezing cold. I don't think so. Maybe a little bit of buy low on the Rams if you're getting the full 3. It would be a slight lean for Seattle to me if it comes back to a 2.5. But this is one that, you know what, when it first came out and it was like Seattle was going to be picked or one of those -1.5, you would have had me. Now with the 3, I think that's priced pretty tight now. And I got to say, it would be a lean on Seattle, but nothing. We'll see how the market trends for this week. But it's tough for me because I think better team, but I know I've got the much better quarterback on the other side. And I'm trusting it. If I got to tell you, trusting Sam Darnold in this kind of big spot when I don't know if one of his obliques is working is a little bit of a sweat.
That's okay, because they got like the fish in Seattle that they always show. You don't need a fish sandwich. They'll make Sam Darnold a Toradol sandwich on Sunday morning. He'll be good to go for this game. At Joey Knish22 on Twitter. Check out his college football betting show, Hit the Books, from the Hammer Betting Network on YouTube and in podcast form. My friend, good luck with the bets tonight, and we will catch up with you soon here on You Better You Bet.
Good luck, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, wait, real quick, before you hang up, you still there?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right. We had a message in the YouTube chat from a longtime listener who was wondering if we had a hockey play from Knish for tonight, a Joey Pucks bet. It could be a futures play also.
Oh, for people that know, the Joey Pucks has been absolutely as hot as can get. Flyers 11, Flyers over tonight, over 6. So anything Philadelphia Flyers on the ice, the Joey Pucks random bet in the account, Flyers over 6. Lock it up.
I'm gonna bet it as soon as I don't even know who they're playing. I'm gonna bet it as soon as we get to break. My friend, appreciate it. Stay well. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you, brother.
The great Joey Knish joining us here on You Better You Bet. All the bets for tonight and why the Atlanta Falcons should be the favorites to win the NFC South. To close the show, next.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Awesome Monday edition of You Better You Bet. Thanks to our two tremendous guests, Joey Knish and Herman Edwards. Our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman. Technical director, Tyler Morales. Our engineer, Kenny Henderson. And our video producers, the tag team of Downtown Mike Brown and Dan the Man Turner. Coaching Carousel, a lot coming up tomorrow on the show. We will be joined tomorrow on You Better You Bet by Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated, who is all over the NFL coaching carousel if you're not familiar with it, you are going to love this spot tomorrow with Connor Orr on all the coaching vacancies in the NFL. He is as good as it gets when it comes to breaking this down. And if you don't believe me, you will find out tomorrow how good that spot is going to be. Danny Parkins will join us tomorrow as well on You Better You Bet. I'm off on Wednesday since, look, I need a day off every once in a while. This will mark tomorrow 8 straight days, I think, for me. Listen, it's that time of year, but I need a day off. So Danny will join us tomorrow on the show. Very, 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 very much look forward to all of that. Black and Abdallah coming up next here on Westwood One Sports. Very quickly on the Falcons, and just because I've teased it like 10 times. Kevin Stefanski gets hired by Matt Ryan. You know I love Stefanski. I wanted the Giants to hire him. Now he's going to be coaching that offense. He's going to be awesome for Kyle Pitts and awesome for Michael Penix Jr. and Drake London and Bijan Robinson. And not as importantly as hiring Stefanski, the team retained former Jets head coach Jeff Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator. Ulbrich did a great job with the Falcons defense. I love Stefanski and Ulbrich in Atlanta. You ask me right now, and there's no market yet, I would have the Falcons winning the NFC South next season. Let's get to all the bets for tonight. Kenny, please drop the dope-ass beat. Our show sponsor is BetMGM, and BetMGM account holders will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. Score a bigger payout if your wager with the Parlay Boost token hits. Tokens can be used on parlays and same-game parlays. Please gamble responsibly. Download the BetMGM app today. Okay, we got some chat bets, which I'll get to quickly here. Our pal BVG, alt line of Indiana minus 13.5, and Riley Nowakowski over 17.5 receiving yards. Our friend Kilmers is hoping for a Miami Hurricanes upset tonight to cash a futures bet. St. Shamrock, Indiana alts, Indiana minus 13.5. I'm going to stay away from the spread of the game. I'll have a bet on under 47.5. I will tail Joey Knish on the Charlie Becker over 46.5 receiving yards, and I have a small bet on Malachi Toney over 61.5 receiving yards. So those are the bets for the Natty. I got some NBA bets today that I absolutely love. So the Knicks are hosting the Mavericks at 5 o'clock today. We don't know if Jalen Brunson is playing. I'm actually going to do a quick refresh here, and let's see if there's news on Brunson. Stand by for a moment. Here we go. Brunson. Still questionable. If he plays tonight, let the market move and bet the Dallas Mavericks. But Brunson has to play, and I'll bet Dallas. Here are the two games that we don't need to have ifs attached to them. Darius Garland will miss 7 to 10 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They host the Oklahoma City Thunder today. The Cavs are 6.5-point home dogs. Give me Cleveland plus the 6.5. Cavs plus 6.5 against the Thunder. And Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers have been on a roll recently. Kawhi is not playing today, and the Clippers are 7.5-point road favorites. Give me the Washington Wizards plus 7.5. So Cavs plus 6.5 against the Thunder. Wizards plus 7.5 against the Clippers. The Mavericks plus the points against the Knicks, but need Brunson to play in the market to move to make that bet. The under in Indiana, Miami. Charlie Becker over receiving yards. Malachi Toney over receiving yards. And a partridge in a pear tree. Danny Parkins and Connor Orr coming up tomorrow on the terrific Football Tuesday edition of You Better You Bet. More on the NFL coaching carousel, more divisional round fallout, and we'll start to get you set for Championship Sunday in the NFL. And of course, we'll be all over the national championship game tonight. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you, dear listener and dear viewer, minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Black and Abdallah coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
Bye.